tindzaba letiphuma enkosini. Uthokandaba, tinfombi, imbali yeMaswati, ayiphelele esigodlweni embangweni mhla tili-13 kuyo Imphala. Titawufike tibhalise ngalelo langa, tite nemhlanga wabo. Mhla tili-11 tiyachitha, mhla tili-15 tiyagidza. Imiyalo etikhulwini. Nguleso naleso sikhulu kufanele ukuthi sikhiphe emajaha lamane. Kude kwakuthi nangabe kukhona kungaphili kwalomunye lawo lamabili emajaha akhone kubikela labo labafanele. Nekuthi nangabe loyo mfana asafakwe esibhedlela bakhone ukuthi babikele batali emakhaya. Tikhulu tifanele ukuthi tiyale tinfombi nemajaha uma baphuma emphakathini. Now emajaha ayati ukuthi tinfombi tilala todwa nalabadvuna balala bodwa. Siyimbali yeMaswati, sichakazile sincobile iCovid. Bayethe wena waphakathi. Usho njalo ke Mswati kulomnyama kulabalithuli. Kulodungandaba sembelebeleni bakhephula ngejozi igazi liyaphalala. Bayethe wena waphakathi.
Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the news bulletin at 8, brought to you by our number one news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nondumiso Vilagade alongside Nomagabiso Nkambule. Stories. Patron of Sicalo Foundation, His Royal Highness Prince Sicalo, has handed over 2 houses that the foundation has built for 2 elderly women of Sicilwini under the Manzini North constituency. Residents of Sicilwini under the Manzini North constituency have praised His Majesty King Mswati III and Her Majesty Ndlovukazi for instilling good values in Amazinyane. Eswatini has fully committed herself to the 5-year sub-regional gender-based violence against women and girls program. And now the news in detail. Patron of Sicalo Foundation, His Royal Highness Prince Sicalo, has handed over 2 new houses that the foundation has built for 2 elderly women of Sicilwini under the Manzini North constituency. His Royal Highness also distributed food parcels and an assortment of items to over 500 citizens, which included the vulnerable elderly.
The first recipient to receive a brand new house from His Royal Highness was 72-year-old Togonzimanze, who was forced by circumstances to live in this structure with her 10 grandchildren. Life was a challenge indeed, but today her life has transformed as His Royal Highness has officially gifted her with this brand new house. Gogo Nzimanze lived in fear as there was a strong possibility that her stick and mud house could end up being infested with snakes. She has to grapple with the reality of taking care of her 10 grandchildren whose survival is squarely on her shoulders. She expressed her gratitude to His Royal Highness.
Lokuthi usisitile Nkosi yami lengakusho nje ungathi uNkulunkulu angamsita amanzi silethe insuku takho tokuphila ngoba lo msebenzi la wendako awusuki kuye kepha usuka uNkulunkulu.
His Royal Highness opened another house that was built for 63-year-old Emma Dlamini, who unfortunately passed away before she could settle into her new house, leaving behind 6 grandchildren. Her newly built house was received by her son Petros Mazia.
Sithanda kubonga kakhulu kumthandi inkosi naso sonke sivele silekelele kulesipho labasendele sona. Asathi ukuthi singabonga sithini kodwa nje sibonga kakhulu kumthandi inkosi.
Siyeva mcanco ukuthi make lebe makhela ubese so uthathwa nguNkulunkulu. Ingabe beangasijabulela kangakanani lesakhiwo?
Ngiyethemba bengasijabulela kakhulu ngoba into vele bekayidinge kakhulu. kufa ke lokunga applyelwa siva buhlungu kodwa nje siyethemba la khona ulale ngekuthula uyasibona futhi nesakhiwo sakhe.
His Royal Highness stretched his philanthropic crusade a little further by bringing smiles to over 500 citizens who included the elderly, orphans and the disabled. They all received an assortment of food items, blankets, clothing items including shoes and wheelchairs. This year, the Sikalo Foundation is celebrating 21 years of impacting the nation and bringing hope in hopeless situations. His Royal Highness expressed his sadness over the manner in which Gogo Emadlameni passed away.
Singakefiki ke bekunene bekusakhiwa khona lapha sajabha kakhulu kuva ukuthi awu lapha besithi na lomunye gogo lebesi libeka khona vele lapha enzaweni sesivele sesiva leti bhlungu ngaye ukuthi awu sowulimele ngetindlela letithite letingasito futhi naleti semthethweni ukuthi ngawulimele ngato kusivise bhlungu kakhulu ke lokho ukuthi awu singathi umuntu omdzala simakhela nje mase kusele emalanga lamabili lamathathu sekuba khona amajabhane lasavela ganga ngaye amgilisa tika kwabe sekubona ukuthi awu sesitawuchubeka kona siyakhe indlu yagogo.
When presenting the assortment of gifts to the excited citizens, His Royal Highness assured that the foundation is working towards catering for disabled young children.
Lesiphinze kwaba netipho letinye lesitiphathako ukuthi awu bogogo bakhona ukuthi bamane bambathe ensambama nasekuhlwile ukuthi bakhona ukuphumula kahle. Sise kophelelo lelikhulu ke ukuthi ke nabo ke bantwana lekwati ukuthi baphila ngema disabilities ngekukhubateka lokuthide simane sikhona ukubona lihlelo ukuthi yini lesingakhona ukuthi sibendele kona bona ngoba lamhla sikakhona lokho sihlanganise kahle tonke inombolo kepha ke ifoundation isakubuketa lokho siyethemba ukuthi ekuhambeni kwesikhathi kutathi noma sekuhlangene nako bese sesibize sesiyayibuyisa lokho program leyo lesiyilungisako yabo ukuthi bamane bakhona nabo ukuthola lisito bekunene.
Sigodro Motsa, who spoke on behalf of the Masunvini Royal Crawl, said His Royal Highness's visit to Siqolweni served as an opportunity for him to appreciate the daily challenges that confront the community.
Ngane ngosisibulala emabhodlela kubuka thine emphakathini waseMasundwini kepha phela vele bongabuka phe ngingenu la sikhulusa lana uvame isho inkosi uthi sikhulusa la ngiyo iphinze futhi ithi indvuna yala engumgijimi so sine nje silibandla kuta kwesigodlo sibone bulukhuni lesiphila andabona kuyasihambisha ngoba uniphinze uyoba linxusa lethu enkosini njengoba ubonile nje letalukati lo tichastile letulu ubonile ukuthi ticanca indzaba kuyofika khona lapho tiya khona ubonile lo mgwanqo lo buka sithi connecting road leyo uyophuma emakholweni.
The Manzini Regional Administrator Prince Gicha said it was important for those who received gifts from His Royal Highness to share with others who are also in need. On the news, I am Sandile Makanya reporting from Siqelweni.
Residents of Siqelweni under the Manzini North constituency have praised His Majesty King Mswati III and Her Majesty Indlovukazi for instilling good values in Emazinyane. The residents say their Royal Highnesses have demonstrated that they have embraced all the teachings that were instilled by their Majesties by reaching out and helping vulnerable citizens in the country. The residents spoke during an event where His Royal Highness Prince Sikalo handed over new houses to 2 elderly women in the area.
Siyabonga kakhulu sisicelo siyamangala nje ukuthi sicelo saze sakhunjulwa siyayibonga inkosi lokuthi ikhulise abantwana sebacabanga lokuthi kunebantu la ngaphandle labaswele labadzingile labalambile labanetinkinga sibujabula nje lokuthi nalo lizinyane litowuvela libuke la ukuthi lenzawo indzawo lenjani.
Siyabonga kakhulu emakhosi kukhulisa emazinyana latawathi tinzanzane nebafelakati nabogogo sijabule kakhulu siyadumisa kakhulu ukuthi naso silo nendlovukazi asikhumbule Nkosi yami ngoba thina bogogo bantu babethu bashiyana labantwana balahlele hayi ukuthi kukhona ini bede kuthi imisebenzi sidumisa kakhulu nje.
Sibonga kakhulu emakhosi ethu siwathanza kakhulu. Siyabonga sasikhulisela emazinyane namhla asaphumile. Ayasibuka la ngaphandle sibogogo asikhoni kuhamba. Sasala nebatukulu sesondla abatukulu. Siyabonga kakhulu emakhosini ethu akangwane.
Sinekujabula lokukhulu. Nasibona ukuthi sifukanyelwe. Ngoba lokhu kusikhombisa ukuthi live noma emakhosi ayasithanza ayasibonelela siyabonga kakhulu lesikubongako ukuthi sibone nokuthi siphila kanjani kuyasithokozisa kakhulu lokho asikalahleki siseveni lelifuthumele kakhulu shathi uNkulunkulu anganzisa konke laba kwentaba.
His Majesty King Mswati III has implored members of Parliament to work towards peace and the development of the country. The Speaker of the House, Jabulani Mabuza, has said this during the first sitting of the 12th Parliament on Tuesday.
Following the election of the Speaker of the 12th Parliament and his deputy last week Friday, and being blessed by their Majesties on Monday, the Speaker of the House, Jabulani Mabuza, had a meeting with the former Speaker, Petros Mavimbela.
Sikufisela inhlanhla usawusebenta nekusho lokuthi kuyasebenteka kwakho nje ngiyajabula lokuthi ngiyathi usekuyindoda lematiko uNkulunkulu ngaphandle kwaNkulunkulu kude la singafika khona sithi congratulations siyabonga 5 years utamqhuba Inkosi ibusise
nasikhula ukuthi ne Mavimbela zafunza ukuthi indlela ibutwa kulabasembili olijaha nawe ngekuhlonishwa sive nekuhlonishwa ngemakhosi lebe ubambe lo msebenzi kuleminyaka lesihlanu lesisuka kuyo wasebenta kwaze kwabala sikubone kuhleke kokuthi kungaba kuhle sendele doti ingcoco.
The Speaker then called the House of Assembly to its first sitting where he rendered His Majesty's message to the House.
Sabusiseka ke sonke Speaker na deputy wakhe yacizelela ke ingwenyama ngenzaba yentuthuko yeveni siyakhumbula ke sonke ikhuluma ngenzaba ya first wealth ukuthi live leMaswati alibalelwe emaveni lathuthukile cizelele ke ukuthi ungathi tinfungo dingachubeka timbambise kuloko sive site ukhona kuthuthuka level to ukhona kuphila nenhlala kahle eMaswati ibe ngile kahle.
Members of the Honorable House of Assembly, including His Royal Highness Prince Lindani, echoed His Majesty's words and congratulated the Speaker.
Bakangwane ke Speaker bakhulume lokunyenti bakangwane being ingwenyama na indlovukazi kiyo imiyalo lekufuna Speaker bakanye na deputy lekufuna bahambe ngayo indlela yokuthi iParliament ku conductwa kanjani lokhu kwenteka kanjani leyo miyalo leyo ivakele itolo.
Siyethemba sinesiciniseko futhi sekuthi lendlu le utayihola njengamntu waNkulunkulu uphinze uyihole njengeliswati uphinze uyihole ngebucotfo lobu beyond.
Members of Parliament are to be capacitated on the country's constitution and standing orders of the Honorable House. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Suekoza with Sikumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
Eswatini has fully committed herself to the 5-year sub-regional gender-based violence against women and girls program. Speaking during the launch in South Africa, the Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's office, Melusi Masuku, told stakeholders that the government of Eswatini is in the process of developing gender equality and women empowerment mechanisms to strengthen gender coordination nationally as a way of translating gender equality policies into tangible programs.
Botswana, Lesotho, Eswatini, Namibia, South Africa and Zambia have come up with the 5-year sub-regional gender-based violence program after realizing that violence against women and girls is on the rise. United Nations Population Fund's head of office, Margaret Twala, says the issue of funds was also discussed during the meeting.
Ukhanza ukuthi kudzingeka 96.8 million. Kodwa ke le mali lena itawuhlukaniswa ngalamave osithupha. Kangwane nje ngendeka sithole ngetulu kancane kwa 10 million for the program lecala nga-2024 irane for 5 years.
Kwakha Invotsa's Chief Executive Director Sonic Dlamini, who attended the meeting virtually, says they are doing all they can to sensitize the public on gender-based violence.
One of the key things that we do is to hold dialogues and try and really discuss how men can best play a role in protecting and ending gender-based violence, and also protecting and upholding the rights of women and girls.
Of Eswatini, people living with disabilities, Bongani Makama says people living with disabilities face violence every day.
Addressing such challenges to them, it is a great achievement. Though we can tell that there are some other laws that are a challenge, such as the Criminal Persecution Evidence Act of 1938, which denies testimonials for persons with psychosocial disabilities.
The United Nations states that in the SADC region, an estimated 33% of women have experienced intimate partner violence in their lifetime. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
Medical specialists from the Republic of South Korea are in the kingdom to provide medical assistance to Eswatini. They will specialize on skin, lungs and intestines. They are stationed at the Mbabane Government Hospital and RFM.
The South Korean specialists will be in the country till Friday the 13th. The Director of Health Services, Dr. Valepi Okelo, says there's already a queue waiting for the medical practitioners' assistance.
So starting with the gastroenterologist, the main issue here is that he's here to help us do endoscopies, colonoscopies, or in other words. So that means we will be doing procedures that will enable us to detect if people have any ailments or inside the intestines, beginning from the colon, if you come from behind, up to the small intestines. So they will be helping us both at RFM and Mbabane Government Hospital. We already have people booked for those services. So we are very grateful for that assistance because it will help to really expedite the diagnosis of cancers for some of these patients who may be suspected of having colon cancer and other problems in the gastrointestinal tract. We also have the pulmonologist, who is a specialist in lung problems, who will assist us in detecting any complicated lung problems that we might have.
Members of the public are not expected to pay any cent for the health services since they are free. For Eswatini TV News, I am Kian Msibu with Smuva Shongwe, Mbabane.
37 chiefdoms have benefited from the smallholder market-led project by the Eswatini Water Development and Agriculture Enterprise since its inception 7 years ago. The Chief Executive Officer, Samson Sitole, said over 100,000 Maswati have benefited from different projects. He was speaking at the George Hotel in Manzini during the close-out of the program, where present were chiefs and representatives of benefiting communities.
The project has been of great benefit to 37 communities under 37 chiefs or chiefdoms. This is a project that has taught communities skills in many areas. To start with, communities have learned to build ferrocement tanks to harvest rainwater.
Manzini Regional Secretary Arnold Dlamini says there has been significant development under the smallholder market-led project.
In 5 chiefdoms, whereby they have taught them to develop development plans. They also taught them to do smallhold farming, And lastly, they were taught how to conduct conservation.
The secretary at Mafuteni Umphakathi, Themba Mkoko, says in his community, most beneficiaries are now able to sell their produce to commercial markets through the help of the program.
Thuthukise kakhulu siganga sakithi Mafuteni ngobe nyalo so uyatithola tinkukhu so uyatithola netimbuti letifiyelwa ukuthi tithengiswe tothuthuka wona eMaswati.
According to the World Food Programme, smallholder farming remains the backbone of rural livelihoods in Eswatini. 70% of Emaswati still depend on subsistence farming. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Manzini.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV. We begin our sports roundup with Sithebe Samhlekazi that has been knocked out of this year's COSAFA Women Championship after their defeat against Banyana Banyana on Tuesday.
Begin our sports roundup with the Sithebe Samhlekazi that has been knocked out of this year's COSAFA Women Championship after their 3-0 defeat against Banyana Banyana on Tuesday. Tubelihle Shamase netted twice in the first half before sealing a victory with the third one in the second half. Despite Sithebe being knocked out, Banyana Banyana also was not able to proceed to the semi-finals as only one team can make it out of the group stages and only Malawi is sitting at the top of the log. Sithebe head coach Zweli Khoza believes they have learned a lot despite their defeat in this year's tournament.
Few have been here before, but we learned. Because we never lose, but we learn as a team, but we'll do better going forward in the next edition. We considered soft goals. You can't do that against a team from the World Cup.
Unfortunately, we couldn't go beyond the group stages, but if you don't win your first game, it sets you back. But then again, it all started from way back, when we should have come in earlier, but we did not. And I take my hat off to the players and, for the effort that they put in. I'm sad and disappointed for them, but they showed today, that the future is bright.
In other news, rugby national team Sizeze has dropped to 104th position in the latest World Rugby rankings, meaning they have now dropped 2 places from their recent rankings in August this year, where they were ranked 102nd. Eswatini Rugby Union has promised more international competitions in the near future to improve their rankings. The Springboks of South Africa have dropped to 3rd in the world. Zimbabwe are ranked 31st, while Zambia are 69th in the world. Ireland are still ranked 1st in the world, with France the 2nd. The rankings are expected to be updated after the conclusion of the ongoing Rugby World Cup in France. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a quick recap of today's headlines. Patron of Sicalo Foundation, His Royal Highness Prince Sicalo, has handed over 2 houses that the foundation has built for 2 elderly women of Sicilwini under the Manzini North constituency. Residents of Sicilwini under the Manzini North constituency have praised His Majesty King Mswati III and Her Majesty Ndlovukazi for instilling good values in Amazinyane. Eswatini has fully committed herself to the 5-year sub-regional gender-based violence against women and girls program. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather focus for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.
Eswatini.